I'd like to call in former chief of Cowess's band, Cadmus Delorme, and he's going to share their experience with their law that they've created in their community. So please welcome Cadmus Delorme, please.
Miigwech, thank you very much. I wanted to give greetings to Brokenhead Ojibway Nation and Anishinaabeg Nation and the leadership, the law committee, and all of the community members. My name is Cadmus. I come west of you. I'd point with my lips, but I'd point too far. I just live on the other side of the Saskatchewan border. I see you don't have any Saskatchewan Rough Rider prizes here. I guess you're Blue Bomber fans over here, so I won't say much in that category. Supper's ready, so please, if you can give me 12 minutes. That's all I ask is for 12 minutes. I don't want to be between you and that good turkey dinner and bologna and everything else I smell there, but if you could give me 12 minutes. One of the things I really want to get across is why you're all sitting here tonight. This is historic for your nation here tonight. And why I mean that is you are doing your first reading on an inherent law that you have always had, and your kokoms and mushrooms and your great-grandparents have always had. As indigenous people, as Anishinaabeg people, we have always had these laws, but we don't write them down. They're embedded in our ceremonies and our songs, and they've been there since time immemorial. You think of the ancestors of the Brokenhead Anishinaabeg Nation, going back centuries ago, not decades, not years ago, like hundreds of years ago. At one time on this land, your ancestors had no children in care and no unemployment. Everybody had a duty, everybody had a job, everybody had a purpose. And it was beautiful. You had your women's council who did the final decision making. You had your hereditary chief and headmen who were your spokespeople and the ones that went ahead to go and get those messages and bring them back. And everybody in your tribal system, and you voted with your feet. What I mean by that is if you didn't agree with the Women's Council or the hereditary chief and headman, you'd pack up your teepee and go find another tribe. You voted with your feet. Today we can't do that. We're 6-1 and 6-2, where we kind of have a different approach. But something happened when the Europeans, settlers, Canadians got here. They had a different model than yours. And things happened. I want to give you an example of what happened through my personal journey, just so I know you could relate. My great-great-great-grandmother, her English name was Gracie. She was born in 1874. Gracie grew up, never went to a residential school, never went to, lived on a reserve. There was no reserves yet. She grew up pure in that indigenous worldview. She had my great-grandma Maggie. Maggie was born in 1900. Because of a Canadian policy, Maggie had to attend a residential school. Maggie should have got that vertical lineage teachings from her mom and grandma and all those generations before of our beautiful Anishinaabeg teachings. But Maggie didn't. Maggie went into what we call horizontal survival mode in what we know today as residential schools. Maggie had my grandma Evelyn. Second generation in my bloodline. Evelyn should have got all those Anishinaabeg teachings from her mom and grandma and aunties and all those generations before. But because of Canadian policy, Evelyn went into horizontal survival mode. Evelyn had my mom Charlotte. Charlotte was born in 1949. Charlotte should have got all those vertical lineage teachings that our Anishinaabe way always had, but because of a Canadian policy, Charlotte went into horizontal survival mode. I was born in 1982. I never attended a residential school. But my mother had to raise me to believe in this country and try and not have chips on my shoulder to work with Canada and to work with the provinces while trying to keep that beautiful Anishinaabe way of life. You know, today I got a 6-year-old daughter, and my mom and my daughter are inseparable. That vertical lineage is getting stronger. When you do an assessment of your nation right now, the biggest challenge we face as Indigenous people is we've kind of become our own worst enemies today to each other because we manage poverty. And one of the blessings and hope that we have is to get back to that model where there was no children in care and no unemployment. And this is your model, this is your plan. This is the Brokenhead Anishinaabeg plan. And remember, your ancestors always had this. But now you're just writing it down. We got to write things down, now we adapt. Just like my daughter and I don't go to the hunting society. We go to Costco and do our hunting now, my daughter and I. There's nothing wrong with change. We adapt. But now moving forward, you got to understand that the governments do not approve and work as much as you think with your plan. But don't let that hinder you. Because you got to know how the governments think. This is how the governments think. They look at you as domestic sovereignty. And what I mean by that is you can do things as long as you don't affect the government's model. This, you are going to replace the government's model with your model. So they're going to have challenges with you for this. They're going to try and throw out carrots and make you fight amongst each other because they don't want you to have this. Because right now, you're the raw material to the government's jobs. This scares them. And that's why you must stay united through this. You got to come here with your shield down and ask those tough questions. You got amazing technicians, you got amazing leadership, you got an amazing nation. And when kids run around, it reminds you of why we're doing this. We can't look back and wait and hold all that weight because we now got to release and respect that this is for our children. And we have chips on our shoulders as adults. I do. But I got to replace those chips on my shoulders now with hope because that's what this is. I just want to end off with 2 last things. When you work on this, I want to explain to you how the government looks at you. It's called domestic sovereignty. Back in something called Doctrine of Discovery in 1492, a long, long time ago, nobody came to the ancestors of the Brokenhead Anishinaabeg Nation ancestors and said, we're going to take underlying title in Doctrine of... Nobody came here because they looked at you as terra nullius. Sorry, I'm not trying to use my $10 university words. I'm trying to break this down nice. They looked at you and said, you're not people, you're subjects. And when Canada got here, and they brought the British North American Act, and Canada got here, nobody came here and asked you in 1867, your ancestors, what do you think of this British North America? No, they looked at you as subjects, not as people. And then when the Indian Act got here, they didn't come here and ask you, what do you think about the Indian Act? No, you're subjects to Canada. They just came here and said, we're going to rule you now from birth to death. In 1951, the province of Manitoba came here and took all your children in care. Nobody came here in 1951 and asked you, we're going to take your children in care. What do you think? No. Because the government looked at you as subjects, not as people. Now in 2023, after your 3rd reading and you ratify this law, you are no longer domestic sovereignty to the government. You are your own nation, your own rights holder, and you have your law. You tell the government in Cree, we say, Awas! Get out of here now. We have our own law. And it's not going to be like a light switch. Remember, since 1951 to now, their model put us in this moment. It ain't going to be an overnight transition. Think of it like dimming of lights. After you assert jurisdiction, then you modify and finalize your model. It's like horse and then the cart. And you have a 5-year transition plan to finalize your model. And you are going to disagree. We disagreed on houses. I was the chief for 7 years. And we did this. I got a gray hair for every month I was chief. It's up there somewhere. But I just want to end off by saying, I visit many nations. I love this. This is nation building. By asking me to come and share a few words, I'm so honored. I don't mean no disrespect to anybody in how I speak. This is nation building. But remember, we are on this journey now. And we must understand that we are going to disagree. People are not going to agree on everything. This isn't perfect, but it's your model. If you want to do your prevention in a certain way, prevention means everything to prevent a child from being apprehended. If you want to do protection your own way, the moment that investigation call happens, you're going to have your own model now. You don't have to ask the province for permission. You don't have to one day go to a judge in this province for permission. You must assert jurisdiction, then finalize your model. I just want to end off by saying that Cowses, we're in our 3rd year of exercising our jurisdiction. We have no children in care on our reserve lands anymore. We knew the vertical lineage that was needed to invest. Off the reserve, we still have a lot of cases, but we're working on it. We're giving respite to grandparents who have grandkids. We don't want elder abuse, but we know grandma and grandpa are not going to give up their grandkids. So we just want to make sure that, we have moms going back to university, so the little kid gets to watch mom do her homework at the kitchen table. You change a lot when you watch a kid watches mom doing homework at the kitchen table. This is your hope. And so I hope the little words that I shared with you inspire you that this is a good thing. This is a different thing. We're not used to talking like this. We're used to the poverty talk. I need my house fixed. I have my children and I don't know where I'm going to eat tomorrow. Those are real talks. I'm not trying to discredit those, but this is a different talk right now because this is law. You call it law creation. It's law rebuilding. You're just remolding it because you've always had your law. And I wish you well. I work very well with your technical team. I have a lot of respect for your chief and your council, and I do stay in contact with them. I wish you all the best, and the day you celebrate your law coming to fruition, I hope that I can come here and celebrate with you. I thank you for letting me share a few words. Because
Thank you, Cadmus Delorme, Chimigwich, for that encouragement and sharing your experience with your community.